Abner, Saul's military commander. Abner, whose name means my father is a lamp or my father is a light, was a prominent figure during the reign of King Saul and the commander of his army. His story is one of loyalty to Saul's house, even after God rejected Saul, and his eventual entanglement in the power struggles that arose after Saul's death, culminating in a tragic and treacherous end. Abner first appears in the biblical narrative as a key figure in Saul's early military success. He was present during battles against the Philistines and other enemies in Israel. He also played a role in bringing David to Saul after David defeated Goliath, initially unaware of the profound destiny that awaited David. As Saul's jealousy and paranoia towards David grew, Abner remained loyal to the king. He was present when David twice spared Saul's life in the wilderness. On one occasion, sleeping among Saul's sleeping men, when David took Saul's spear and water jug from beside his head. David challenged Abner's vigilance, accusing him of not adequately protecting the king. This incident highlights Abner's close proximity and responsibility to Saul. After Saul's death in the battle on Mount Gilboa, Abner chose to uphold the remnants of Saul's dynasty. He took Ish-bosheth, also called Ish-bosheth, Saul's surviving son, and made him king over Israel in Mahanaim, while David had been anointed king over Judah and Hebron. This action effectively created a civil war, dividing the 12 tribes and prolonging the period of transition. For 7.5 years, Abner was the chief military leader, battling David's forces led by Joab, David's nephew and commander. The conflict escalated, famously beginning with a deadly contest at the pool of Gibeon, where 12 men from each side engaged in a brutal hand-to-hand fight. During the ensuing chase, Abner killed Asahel, Joab's swift-footed brother, who relentlessly pursued him despite Abner's warnings. This act of self-defense, though justified in battle, sowed the seeds for a blood feud that would ultimately cost Abner his life. As the civil war dragged on, Abner began to realize the futility of fighting against God's chosen king. He eventually became alienated from Ish-bosheth after being falsely accused of sleeping with Saul's concubine, Rizpah. In anger, Abner declared his intention to switch allegiance to David and bring all Israel under David's rule. He initiated negotiations with David, who agreed to receive him on the condition that he bring back Michal, Saul's daughter and David's first wife. Abner then successfully persuaded the elders of Israel and the tribe of Benjamin to support David, bringing the possibility of a unified kingdom closer than ever. However, Joab, learning of Abner's presence in Hebron, saw it as a threat and, more importantly, as an opportunity for revenge for Asahel's death. Against David's knowledge or consent, Joab treacherously lured Abner aside at the gate of Hebron and murdered him, assisted by his brother Abishai. This act was a violation of hospitality and a personal vendetta. David was deeply distressed by Abner's death, openly mourning him and cursing Joab and his house for the blood guilt. He publicly honored Abner, proclaiming his innocence in the matter and lamenting that a great man had fallen. David even fasted as a sign of his grief. Abner was buried in Hebron, and his death paved the way for David's undisputed kingship over all Israel. Subscribe to the channel or St. Nicholas will slap you when you get to heaven. Become a member of the channel and get exclusive members-only content, courses, articles, audio, and much more, all in one place. We add new materials every single month, and we'd love to have you. Check out the links in the description or in the links for the channel. The themes of Abner's story. Loyalty to a lost cause. Abner's primary defining character is his enduring loyalty to Saul's dynasty, even when it was clearly fighting against God's chosen King David. Power politics and transition. His life is a vivid illustration of the ruthless power struggles and political maneuvering involved in the transition of leadership in ancient Israel, especially during a civil war. Blood feud and revenge. The killing of Asahel by Abner and the subsequent vengeful murder of Abner by Joab highlights the deeply ingrained practice of blood vengeance and its tragic consequences. Shifting allegiances. Abner's eventual decision to switch allegiance from Ish-bosheth to David show a pragmatic shift motivated by personal insult and a recognition of David's inevitable rise. Human obstacles to divine plan. Abner's initial efforts to maintain Saul's kingdom though perhaps well-intentioned from his perspective, were ultimately in opposition to God's full establishment of David's kingship over all Israel. Tragic end for a valiant man. Despite his military prowess and initial loyalty, Abner meets a treacherous end, caught in the complex web of political ambition and personal vendetta. And lastly, David's integrity. David's open mourning and condemnation of Joab for Abner's murder underscored David's own integrity and his commitment to justice, even for a former adversary. Some key points from Abner's life. Scripture references below. He was a cousin of King Saul. He was the commander of Saul's army. He was present when David was introduced to Saul. He slept among Saul's men when David spared Saul. He made Ish-bosheth king over Israel. He led Ish-bosheth's army against David's forces. He killed Asahel, Joab's brother. His kingdom for Ish-bosheth lasted 7 years and 6 months. He's accused by Ish-bosheth of sleeping with Zippah. He was resolved to bring all Israel to David. He initiated negotiations with David. He agreed to David's condition to bring back Michal. He persuaded the elders of Israel to support David. He came to Hebron to meet David. He's murdered by Joab and Abishai. He's killed at the gate of Hebron. David publicly mourned his death. David cursed Joab for Abner's murder. He was buried in Hebron. His death paved the way for David's unified reign. His removal eliminated the main obstacle to David's kingship over all Israel. Abner, the great commander.
Subscribe to the channel or St. Nicholas will slap you when you get to heaven.